I'm going to ask you to do that right now with your partner. Explain what personification is. How do you know it? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So compare your thinking to mine. Personification, if we're going to define it, and I started writing up here, curious to see what you thought. It's when we give human traits to things that are not human. So think about that. We give human traits to things that are not human. So when we do that, flowers can talk. Mr. Krebsbach, did you have that?
We're ready to roll, yep.
So we have an example of that, and I'm going to write the definition here. While I write it, turn and tell each other, what is personification? Turn and talk about that. Turn and talk first. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I heard characteristics instead of the word traits, and I kind of like that too. So, giving human traits or characteristics to non-living objects. So I found an example in a book that I had at home. When Mr. Krebsbach told me yesterday you were working on this, I told one of my favorite stories. A lot of times I can find some of my favorite stories have this in it. They have a lot of other things that I can notice. But once I learn to notice them, which is what writers do, we notice more, we can actually identify them. So, would you and your partner read through this, and when you think you know where the personification is, share that with your partner. Okay, so go ahead and read through it, and see if you can identify the personification. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm hearing it. Don't be shy about it. There are a lot of great words in here, a lot of descriptive writing. This is, like I said, books that we tend to like as favorites are going to be those examples of that descriptive writing, and they might have personification in them, okay? It's very clearly right here, and so many of you said that too. And it's kind of not as clear, but some of it might be going on in the words up here too. And I heard you guys say that to each other. So she's talking about flowers, right? And in this book, that's the page we're on. These flowers are actually not really flowers, so the whole book is personification. Sometime maybe you and Mr. Krebsbach could read it. But anyway, she's talking about her plants. And right here she says, they are brightly colored, saying, look at me. And there's dialogue. Now plants don't talk. And you learned that way back in probably kindergarten and first grade. That's your first sign that this is not a true story, or this is probably fiction, right? It could even be fantasy, depending. But plants do not talk. And so when a writer chooses to make plants talk, or to have objects do things that are more like humans, they're using personification. So why do we do that? We as authors, and I just told you a little bit about why authors do it. Why should we do it in our writing? I'd like your ideas with that, so why don't you share that right now? Why should we use personification? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm hearing a lot of things that it would be a lot more interesting, right? And a lot of you are telling me from the side of a reader, and that makes perfect sense. You as a reader, wouldn't you rather read a more interesting story? So why do we use personification? To make our writing more interesting to who? Turn and tell. That's right, I'm hearing it to our audience or our readers. And it's always good, it's a good idea to be thinking about who might be reading our work. Some of it we won't want to share, and that'll be okay, but some of it we will. And to me, this makes me think of engagement. I would much rather read an interesting story. In fact, if they're too boring and don't have much of the literacy elements you're learning about in this kind of writing, I might not want to read the book. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, it happens to us. So it's kind of normal, all right? And so then we want to know, how do we do it, and give you some practice with that, okay? So this is kind of the fun part, I think. So how would a writer do that? Now writing, do you agree with me or not? Writing is kind of a messy process. How many of you would agree with me? Yep, and I know I've talked to some authors, some people who have actually published books, some of the ones that I really like. I've gotten to meet them, all cool. And they have told me, writing is messy. It's sloppy work. It's creative and fun for a lot of us, but our first draft is not necessarily our best draft. So I was trying to think about how I could teach you guys to do this. Now, I think I came up with an idea, and we're going to practice this, okay? Do you know what nouns are? Turn and tell each other. What is a noun? Okay, I'm hearing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm hearing it really quickly. Almost everybody said person, place, thing. Yes? Yes. Okay, yes. Person, place, thing. So we identify, we can look for nouns. And then we can give those nouns, now person, place, or thing. If I'm going to talk about a non-living object, then this is going to narrow the nouns down. Could it be a person? No. No. It would have to be a, could it be a place?
Yes.
Not sure.
Also be a thing.
But it could be a thing. So if I write person, place, and thing here, the way we know noun, we're going to definitely take off person because we said non-living objects. Everybody with me? Just a minute, okay? And then we're going to give that noun, that place or thing, perhaps, something to do. And when we talk about that, we're going to talk about, actually, more like the realm of verbs. Can you turn and tell each other, what is a verb? All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I heard it, and I heard it loud, and I heard it proud, and I heard it right away. Action, right? Verbs are action words. Okay, so I've got some practice for us. Are we ready? I did some sentence writing. And like I said, sometimes writers go back and revise, right? We're always kind of making our writing stronger. Yeah? That's the work of a writer. So, this morning, my husband went to Sandy's Donuts, okay? And he had a little extra time today. He went as a treat. And this was sitting on the counter. And he was eating his donut. And he said to me, would you like that donut? I bought an extra one, just for you. Wasn't that nice? Everybody say, aww. So he bought me a donut. And you know what? I wrote about that. The donut looked delicious. Or are you ready for that? That's kind of not very engaging, right? No. Come on, people. This is a Sandy's donut. How many of you are drooling right now? Okay, so I'm going to have some fun with this. The noun. Turn and tell each other. What's the noun in this sentence? All right, you got it. Donut. Okay? I'm going to rewrite it with the noun. The donut. And I'm going to think of this donut, which is a non-living thing, correct? What kind of verb could I put with this donut that would really kind of make this a little bit more engaging sentence? It looked delicious, okay, that's what I'm starting with. The donut looked delicious. If you have an idea, turn and share it. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I had an idea. You can compare your idea to mine, but I had an idea because I'm really trying not to eat donuts, particularly because they're not very healthy and I wanted to start my day off right. So I was trying not to eat the donut. Some of you would go for the donut right away. For me writing this sentence, the donut called my name. Kind of reminds me of the story where the flowers are talking, but not quite, right? Can the donut call out, "Hey, Mrs. Shea, eat me"? It didn't, but it really was. I could think it lured me. It tempted me. But donuts can't really do that, can they? They just sit there and look and smell delicious. Now you're smiling. Isn't that fun? Yeah. Right? Okay, so it's fun to play around with this. Let's try another one. Should we? My alarm clock went off. Every morning this happens. You might put this kind of stuff in your story. You're talking about setting up the characters in the story, right? Mr. Krebsbach, we want some of that stuff off. So my day could begin. The alarm clock went off. Now I'm thinking I might want to talk about the noun, right? So turn and tell. What's the noun? Can you identify the noun? This is going to help us. Did you get it? You got it. Okay. So it is the alarm clock. If you were thinking alarm clock, you were thinking just like me. So I could say my alarm clock. And here's that verb, went, right? Went off. What if I did screamed, comma, get up? Does that make it a little bit more interesting? Did I use personification? Mm-hmm. How do you know what happened that made me use personification? Turn and tell each other. Like Brendan said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I like that. Bellowed. It's kind of obvious. Alarm clocks can't scream. Have you ever had a day where it feels like it is? Yeah. So I'm thinking that sometimes this kind of language and using personification can help our reader, remember our audience, also make more inferences. You could infer something about me this morning. Was I bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when I woke up this morning? No. Turn and tell each other, what was I feeling, do you think? What's your inference?
That's me every day.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You could infer that I'm the kind of person that likes to sleep, and I don't like people to wake me up when I'm not ready to get out of bed, and some of you might be like that. Is that right? Yes. And I didn't have to write all that down. You made an inference. And I think my more interesting sentence using personification helped you more. What do you think? Okay. So now we're going to try another one. The book seemed like a good book. So we're going to go to the noun, and we know that's the book. The books. I'd like to know some of your ideas. Turn and tell each other, what could the book do?
The book was the book said, if you read me books of mine, they upload with navigation.
You have a lot of great ideas. I'm hearing a lot of great ideas about what the actual book could say. The book, I'm going to say, the book begged to be read. Now, I don't know, Mr. Krebsbach, if a child came to you and said, I just had to read that book, was begging me to read it, that might make you infer and know something about that reader, right? We maybe would like some more figurative language and personification even while we're talking, right? But for sure we're going to try it while we're writing. I have one more for you guys to do. And you get to make this one up. We'll do this one together. Mr. Krebsbach told me that in your room this is a very special object. Now, I don't know anything about this object, right? But you are going to try to come up with a sentence about this ball and use personification. Okay, so I'm going to give you the starter because I know the noun. Okay, and the starter would just be, let's just start with the ball. Or does this ball have a special name? Could you tell me? The silent ball. And if it's a special name for this ball, can I capitalize it?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm kind of already personifying this ball because I have given it a proper noun kind of a way. And that doesn't always happen, does it? Not always, okay? So I'm already personifying just by writing those with capital letters. Are you with me? The silent ball. I'm interested. What does this do? Because balls, they bounce. But we're going to give this ball a human trait, something it says or does, a verb, that balls don't normally do. And I want to know your ideas, so go ahead.
The silent ball.
I did not know this ball could talk. I am hearing some things about this ball. This ball is pretty special in this classroom. This ball is a reward for you. This ball says, I was going to say good job, but great is a better word choice. Great job, everyone, because what I'm hearing is you kind of all have to work together, not just one or two, but everyone together. And when Mr. Krebsbach notices everyone together is got their work done, is doing the right thing, making good choices, he sometimes lets you have some time with this. And you get to play games. Am I right? Awesome personification. And you helped me know something about this wonderful community in your classroom. And I'll put an exclamation point there. So turn and share this excellent sentence with personification with your neighbor, with your partner. All right, 5th graders. Would you stand up for me? So today we talked about personification in writing. Why do we as authors, or first of all, what is personification? Turn it up. Hi, Zora, 3, 2, 1. What is personification? Go ahead.
A personification is giving an unanimate object a human-like characteristic.
Nice. Okay, I heard it from everybody. Thanks for being our voice. And why do we as writers want to know about personification? Turn it down.
It sparks imagination.
All right, Lindsay's got it right here. Why? Well, first of all, you say yours. And what did Lindsay say?
Grab the reader's attention.
Grab the reader's attention. Personification, a non-living thing, grabs my attention. You just personification. I can't even say it. I'm so excited. All right, very cool. So it grabs the reader's attention. Now I want to read a book like that. That grabs me. Okay? And then, how do you do it? Turn and tell. We use the noun. What do we do with the noun? How? With so we give it a human. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You may go ahead and sit down. The answer to that was, I heard it in the back, we look for nouns that could help us, and we think about ways of making those nouns, which are not human, be more human by giving them some human characteristics, verbs, things they do and say. That wouldn't necessarily be human. You guys, thank you so much. It's always a treat to work with you, anytime. I hope I get invited to come back again real soon. It's been a long time since I was in your room. So thank you, Mr. Krebs. Bob, you have an awesome class. Where would you like them to be?